Assalamualaikum and very good evening to ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Q&A session of our conference. My name is Arnie and I'll be your moderator for this session. Again, with us today, we have our presenters, Mr. David as a seasoned economist with expertise in Islamic banking and finance, Mr. Hanif as an accomplished scholar specializing in Islamic economics, and also Ms. Caroline as developer of economics. They are the authors of the research paper that have been discussed previously. We also have several attendants consisting of environmentalists, government policy analysts, economists, bank managers, and whatnot. In accordance with our main topic for today, which is Islamic finance and economics, in our discussion research paper entitled Islamic Finance and Economy, Islamic Capital Market, I hope that this session might further eliminate uncertainty among the ladies and gentlemen here. It can be an excellent opportunity for all of us to engage in meaningful discussion and delve deeper into the topics that have been presented. Thus, without any further, I want to extend a warm welcome to all our esteemed presenters and attendees. But first, let us hear a brief explanation and summary from our author on what the study paper is about again.
Okay, thank you for our honorable moderator. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mr. Hanif. I'm going to talk about the research paper that was written and published alongside my fellow authors, Mr. David and Ms. Caroline. The title for the paper is Islamic Finance and Economy, Islamic Capital Market. In this paper, we focus on several topics covered in the paper, including the principles of Islamic finance, Islamic capital market instruments, and the challenges and opportunities that face that we compile it from several papers um, published related to the topic. Firstly, our paper begins by outlining the foundational principles of Islamic finance, such as the prohibition of interest, which is riba, uncertainty, which is gharar, gambling, which is maisir, and investing in certain sectors like alcohol, pork, or gambling, to give a clearer vision on the capital market to become Sharia compliant. Then we dive into the specific financial instruments used in Islamic finance, which differ from conventional finance, and briefly explain them to make it easier to understand for everyone. For example, sukuk, equity-based financing, which are mudarabah and musyarakah, ijarah, and wakalah. Then we compile the challenges and opportunities faced. Um, Overall, we wrote this paper to give a broader understanding on Islamic finance, especially the Islamic capital market, to our beloved readers.
Thank you, Mr. Hanif, for the explanation just now. So now I know many of you might be eager to participate and share your insight. So here is your opportunity to step into the spotlight. Whether you're a seasoned expert or someone who simply wants to engage in enriching dialogue, we welcome you to be part of this collective experience. Your perspectives and contribution are truly valued, and we're excited to hear from you. So, without further ado, if you're ready to dive into our conversation, I would like to start our discussion with our environmentalist to ask something.
Thank you for this opportunity to ask question to Miss Caroline. I'm Nur Amani. As an environmentalist, as we know, common Sharia compliant financial instrument in the capital market were sukuk as Islamic bond, Islamic mutual funds, Sharia compliant equity stock, and any other. One of the market instrument that is sukuk is caught my attention. While I understand that sukuk function similarly to conventional bonds, with the key difference being using principle of Islamic Sharia law. So, can you explain more about the sukuk, like how it works and differ from conventional?
Thank you, Ms. Amani, for the question. Sukuk, or we known as Islamic bonds, is a financial instrument that adhere to Islamic principle and it is used to raise capital in the Islamic finance industry. So, unlike conventional bonds that represent debt obligation, Sukuk represent ownership in underlying asset, project, or business activity. The issuance of Sukuk involve a securitization of asset or cash flow, which give the investor a share of the profit generated from the underlying activity. Sukuk adhere to the principle of Sharia law, which is prohibited the charging or paying of interest or renowned debt as the riba. And also, it promotes ethical investment practice. And before we move forward to how it works, I will talk a little bit about the basic principle of sukuk. Basically, there are four principles. The first one is prohibition of interest, riba. We know that riba is strictly forbidden in Islamic finance. So, we believe that money should not generate more money by itself, which is the underlying principle of interest. Instead, the profit should arise from a shared business risk or an investment in a tangible asset or service. So, this principle shape the structure of sukuk, where the return arises from profit or rental income. The second principle asset-backed nature. Sukuk is always associated with the underlying asset or business. This feature has distinguished it from conventional bonds, which are based only on the creditworthiness of the issuer. With this asset base, Sukuk offer safe investment as investors have claim on tangible asset. The third principle, risk and profit sharing. Sukuk embodies the Islamic principle of risk sharing, where both profit and loss are shared between the issuer and investor. So, this principle contra with conventional bonds, where the issuer bear the risk of default. And the fourth principle is ethical investment and prohibition of uncertain transaction, Garar. Sukuk always adhere to Islamic principle regarding ethical investment and prohibition of voluntary transaction. Sukuk cannot finance business that are considered illegal or prohibited by Islamic law, such as gambling or alcohol. They also avoid garar or uncertainty, which require the investment condition to be clear and definitive. Now I will talk about the structure and the process of sukuk. First of all, we need the role party that involved in sukuk issuance. Sukuk issuance involve multiple party, including the issuer we need to raise capital, the investor who provide the capital, the truster who manage the sukuk asset, and the Sharia board which ensure Sharia compliance. Financial advisors are also typically involved. The second is step in the sukuk issuance. The process of issuing sukuk involves several steps. The first step is the issuer and advisor structure the sukuk according to Sharia principle. And then the sukuk is approved by the Sharia board and relevant regulatory body. Then the sukuk is marketed to potential investor. Basically, the market is usually through a roadshow. Finally, the sukuk is issued and the proceeds are transferred to the issuer. Last but not least, the final process of sukuk is key documentation and agreement in sukuk. The sukuk issuance process involves several key documents, including the prospectus, which detail the investment term, the subscription agreement, which investor sign to purchase sukuk, and the trust deed, which outline the trustee responsibility. Now, I move forward to the difference between sukuk and conventional bonds. In this sharing, I will highlight the five differences. The first one is sukuk indicated ownership of an asset, while the conventional bonds indicate a debt obligation. The second difference is the asset that back sukuk are compliant with Sharia, while conventional bonds may include products or services that are against Islam. The third difference is sukuk are priced according to the value of the asset backing them, while the conventional bond pricing is based on credit rating. The fourth is sukuk can increase in value when the asset increase in value, while the conventional bonds is the profit is correspond to fixed interest, which making them a riba. And the last differences is the sukuk. When you sell sukuk, you are selling on a ship in the asset backing them, while in the conventional bonds, you sell it off the debt.
Thank you for your detailed explanation of Sukuk and fundamental principle. Based on your explanation, evident that Sukuk offer investor a unique opportunity to participate in ethical and Sharia compliant investment while promoting risk sharing and asset-backed investment. The emphasis on ownership while promoting risk sharing and the emphasis on ownership of asset and adherence to Sharia principle distinguish that sukuk from conventional bond, providing investor with a transparent and ethical investment option. Additionally, with Sharia principle and regulatory requirement, your expansion has shed light on the key difference between sukuk and conventional bond, highlighting that the benefit of sukuk as an ethical and sustainable investment instrument in the Islamic finance industry.
Okay, good evening to everyone. I'm delighted to see such a diverse group gather here today to delve into this important topic. In today's financial landscape, Islamic capital markets are thriving and continue to gain attraction globally. We witness a significant increase in the issuance of sukuk and the expansion of Sharia-compliant investment products. Islamic finance is not is just a niche market. It's a dynamic and rapidly growing sector that appeals to a diverse range of investors seeking ethical and sustainable opportunities. Therefore, as a bank manager, I see firsthand the increasing demand for Sharia-compliant financial products and services, not only from Muslim investors but also from the non-Muslim who are drawn to the principles of transparency, fairness, and social responsibility embedded within the Islamic finance. Therefore, I am eager to hear from our presenters about the misconceptions that may surround Islamic capital markets and gain insight into how we can further educate and inform our clients about the realities of this vibrant and evolving sector.
Assalamualaikum and thank you for the question. I hope you guys can clear my voice clearly. I think one of the common misconception about Islamic capital market is that sometimes by looking at Islamic and conventional finance seem identical, but people assume that there are no difference in the reality and details of these two methods. Uh, to understand it, we can find example of two seem the same but different transaction. We all know that in the light of authentic hadith or riba al-fat, it is necessary in the exchange of the same goods that both counter value must be exchanged in equal quantity. If debts are to be exchanged for debts, a basic condition is that the quantity on both sides must be equal. By keeping this rule in mind, looking at another hadith, the debts of Khaybar were presented to the Prophet, and it was said that uh, we exchange two sa of ordinary debts with one sa of this debt, or three sa of ordinary debts with two sa of Khaybar. So the prophets provide this kind of sell and said, sell ordinary debts for dirham and buy Khaybar debts for the dirham you get. See, The result is the same, but the procedure and process of the transaction has changed. Now, if one says that these two methods are the same, it will be considered as the false conclusion or understanding. And in my opinion, I think the best way to educate people to have a better knowledge relates to Islamic finance or capital market by providing a solid understanding of Islamic finance basic principle. This includes the concept of halal and haram as well as the process involved in the Islamic financial business transaction so that a society will no longer consider the Islamic and conventional financial system are the same thing. That's all for me. Thank you.
I see. So, from this statement, we can conclude that while Islamic and conventional finance may sometimes appear similar on the surface, there are significant differences in the underlying principles and practices. The example itself provided illustrates the importance of understanding the nuance and intricacies of Islamic finance, particularly regarding the prohibition of riba and the requirement for transaction to adhere to Sharia principles. The Prophet Muhammad (SAW) emphasized that the importance of adhering to fair and just trading practices by understanding Islamic finance principle truly to ensure compliance with Sharia guidelines and avoid misconception or false equivalence. So I think the next question may be continued by our economist.
Thank you to the moderator for giving me the opportunity to ask the question. Hello everyone, I'm Soneha here as an economist. I want to ask Mr. Hanif a question. Mr. Hanif, as we know, the Islamic capital market has gained traction globally as an alternative financial system adhering to Sharia principles. However, like any financial system, it's not immune to criticism or concern. Based on your perspective, what are some contrasts or criticism often related with the Islamic capital market?
Um, Sister asked a very good question. Yes, it is not immune to criticism or concerns. Firstly, the product diversity is quite limited. Critics argue that Islamic financial products are relatively limited compared to conventional financial markets. Um, Sharia-compliant instruments often focus on equity-based or asset-based transactions, which might limit the diversity of investment opportunities available to investors. Then, developing and maintaining Sharia-compliant financial products can sometimes be expensive than conventional financial products. It is not necessarily expensive, but most likely. This could be due to the additional layers of compliance, screening, and structuring involved in ensuring adherence to Sharia principles. Other than that, the impact on society. While Islamic finance aims to promote ethical and socially responsible investment, critics argue that it may not always effectively address social and developmental needs, particularly in terms of poverty alleviation and economic empowerment in Muslim-majority countries. Though these concerns may be solved with further research and enhancements to improve Islamic capital market.
Thank you for responding my question. Your insight was agreeable, helpful, and provided me with a new perspective on the topic. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your thoughts. If you have any insight or suggestion, I'd love to hear them. Thanks again.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Hazwani, a government policy analyst. It seems that all the others have answered the question given by the attendees who come to this conference. But I want to ask a question to Ms. Caroline as a developer of economics. So our topic is related to the Islamic capital market, such as suku, equity, and so on. Surely Miss Caroline knows and studies many ways to develop the capital market in the country, especially the Islamic capital market. And what is the most effective way to develop the Islamic capital market in your opinion?
Thank you, Azwani. In my opinion, the effective way to develop the Islamic capital market is creating a vibrant financial market. An active Islamic financial market is one of the aspects that will help to promote the growth of Islamic finance. A thriving Islamic financial market will facilitate fundraising and investment operation while also encouraging the development of primary and secondary market for Islamic financial instrument. In this sense, some progress has been made. We have witnessed the primary issue of globally acknowledged Islamic financial instruments such as global sukuk. As a result, the global issuance of sukuk has helped to strengthen relationship between various players in the financial market, including issuer, investor, and trader. Another effective way is strengthening information sharing and human talent management. This is especially given that Islamic finance is still in its early stage of growth when compared to the conventional financial system. So, the sharing and exchange of information and knowledge should include the country experience in building an Islamic financial system, the use of Sharia principle in product development, and the availability of database and statistics for research purpose. This would contribute to greater information parity among global financial participants and market.
Hello everyone. May I ask one more question? With the increasing of globalization of financial markets, how can Islamic capital market adapt to the attract foreign investor while preserving their adherence to the Sharia principles?
Um, Thank you for your questions. Uh, in my opinion, Islamic capital market can focus on environmental, social, and governance product. I think this will help to highlight the inherent ethical and society responsible nature of Islamic finance to attract more investors seeking sustainable and impact-oriented investment opportunities. For instance, Islamic capital market must avoid investing in harmful activities like pollution. This action will raise capital for projects with positive social impact, such as education or healthcare in underserved community. In addition, from the hadith Sahih al-Bukhari, while a man was walking along a path, he found a thorny branch of a tree on the way and removed it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thanked him for that deed and forgave him. What we can learn from this hadith that despite the increase in environmental hazard, litter and debris, creating a clean and safe environment is a must and a responsibility for all and protecting Maqasid Sharia. I believe that in this way we can attract more investors from abroad to use Islamic finance because it does not violate the principle of Sharia, and I hope I've answered your questions. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David, for your insightful perspective on how Islamic capital markets can align with the environmental, social, and governance principle to attract foreign investors. Your emphasis on ethical and socially responsible investing resonates deeply with the core values of Islamic finance. Indeed, by focusing on ESG products and avoiding investment in harmful activities, Islamic capital markets can not only attract investors seeking sustainable and impact-oriented opportunities but also contribute to the positive social change. Your reference to the hadith highlights the importance of the environmental stewardship and the inherent responsibility we have as stewards of the earth, which aligns perfectly with the principle of the Sharia. In conclusion, integrating ESG principles into Islamic capital markets not only align with the ethical foundations of Sharia, but also offer a compelling values proposition for investors worldwide. Thank you, David, for sharing your valuable insight.
I have another question. Foreign exchange trading can include aspects of borrow and can result in transactions that resemble gambling, especially speculative activity like currency speculation and leverage. Furthermore, performing interest-based transaction or trading on utilized represent two currency trading practice that may go against the foundation of Islamic finance. As an expert in Islamic economy, can you provide a hadith or passage from the Quran that support this statement, Mr. Hanif?
Sure, inshallah. Engaging in speculative foreign exchange trading, where outcomes are uncertain and speculative, may violate the prohibition of gharar, which is uncertainty, as outlined in Surah Al-Nisa, verse 4, ayah 29. Or you who have believed, do not consume one another's wealth unjustly, but only in lawful business by mutual consent. And do not kill yourself or one another. Indeed, Allah is to you ever merciful. This ayah means Muslims are encouraged to conduct business transactions with clear terms and mutual consent, avoiding uncertainty or ambiguity. Similarly, trading foreign currencies in manner involving interest-based transactions, such as leverage trading or margin trading, contradicts the prohibition of riba, which is interest, that mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 2, ayat 275. Those who consume interest cannot stand on the day of resurrection, except as one stands who is being beaten by Satan into insanity. That is because they say trade is just like interest, but Allah has permitted trade and has forbidden interest. The Quran explicitly permits trade while forbidding interest-based transactions. Furthermore, Muslims are instructed to uphold fair trade practices, as highlighted in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 2, verse 188, and do not consume one another's wealth unjustly or send it in bribery to the rulers in order that they may aid you to consume a portion of the wealth of the people in sin, while you know it is unlawful. By avoiding actions that exploit market inefficiencies or manipulate currency price unjustly. In summary, compliance with Sharia principles in foreign exchange trading entails avoiding uncertainty and interest, while conducting transactions with honesty, integrity, and fairness, in accordance with Islamic ethical guidelines. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanif, Mr. David, and Ms. Caroline for sharing your insights on potential of Islamic financial instruments and the benefits of investing in the Islamic capital market. Your perspectives shed light on the importance of ethical and sustainable investment practices in today's economic landscape. Now, let's open the floor to any question or comments from the other attendees. So please feel free to share your thoughts or pose any further inquiries to our estimate presenter. Yes, our policy analyst, please.
Thank you, Ms. Arnie. So, I want to ask Ms. Caroline another question. Ms. Caroline, what do you think about the bonds found in Islamic financial instruments now are capable enough of being a driving force in advancing the national economics and why?
For your question, I will say yes. For the bonds found in Islamic financial instrument, which is we know is sukuk, is now capable of being driving force in advancing the national economy. This is because issuance of sukuk can attract domestic investment capital, which is invest according to Islamic principle. Sukuk also ensure that every financial activity is backed by real economic activity and thus promote financial stability and real economic development.
The answer that Miss Karen provide are very useful for the society out there. Thanks anyway. I would like to ask about investing activity that Islamic market does right now, whether it is good or bad, given the rising global interest in ethical and sustainable investment practices, especially in today's climate conscious world. Attendees at an Islamic Finance and Economy conference are eager to learn more about the benefit of investing in the Islamic capital market. They understand that Islamic finance is rooted in ethical principle and want to explore how it offers investor opportunity to align their investment with their value. So I want to ask Mr. David, in light of the growing interest in ethical and sustainable investment practice, could you elaborate on the benefit of investing in the Islamic capital market?
Thank you for the question. Um, I hope you guys can clear my voice. I think that the big advantage of investing in the Islamic capital market is that it can reduce the economic gap of the community. This is the reason why Islamic finance or Islamic capital market is unique and special. As is known, every profit obtained from the Islamic market activity, like sukuk, investment, and so on, will be zakat to be distributed to the community. The payment of zakat is one of the demand in religion as stated in Surah An-Nur, verse 56, and establish prayer and give zakat and obey the messenger, that you may receive mercy. The primary aim of zakat is to provide assistance to the poor and the needy. So, in my perspective, by collecting zakat funds and distribute them to the needy, it can help them meet the basic need of the less fortunate, including food, shelter, clothing, healthcare, and education. Zakat serves as a form of social safety net, offering support to those who are facing hardship. So that's why this is the big advantage of investing in the Islamic capital market. That's all for me. I hope I answer your question.
So I think in conclusion, the conversation highlights the perceived benefits of Islamic financial instrument, particularly sukuk, in driving economic growth and stability. It underscores the growing interest in ethical and sustainable investment practices globally and suggests that Islamic finance offers opportunities for investors to align their investment with ethical principles. Additionally, Mr. David's perspective emphasized the potential role of Islamic finance in addressing economic inequality within communities. Overall, the discussion underscores the potential in Islamic finance to contribute positively to both economic development and ethical investment practices, and it is just such a pleasure to hear that. Thank you to our presenters and attendees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all our presenters, attendants, and to all for making today's event surrounding success. We've had a rich, insightful discussion on the potential of Islamic finance, ethical investment practices, and the impact on economic development. I want to express my gratitude to our speakers, Ms. David, Mr. Hanif, and Ms. Caroline, for sharing their expertise and perspective with us. Your insights have provided valuable food and thought and have contributed to a deeper understanding for the topics discussed. As we conclude today's conference, I encourage everyone to continue exploring these important issues, fostering dialogue, and seeking opportunities for collaboration. Let's carry forward the spirit of learning and engagement that has characterized our time together today. Once again, thank you to all for your participation and contribution. I look forward to seeing you all at the future events and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.